most people are still suffering, and regardless of, you know, what is happening. Sorry, someone just tried to call me and kind of got me off topic, and now I realize my video just got cut, so I'm gonna have to merge the two. I hate doing that. So, anyway, so you gotta figure out what's draining you. Suffering is still happening, but also there is peace and there's enlightenment. And to get to peace, you have to have more stuff gaining you than draining you. So you got to put stuff in your life that is going to uplift you, and God and faith and hope, exercise appropriately depending on your level of burnout. So exercise is not always advised for certain people. For most people it is. Social interaction, forcing yourself to go out and socially interact, detoxification, healthy foods, green juices, green smoothies. These are all battery gainers, right? These are all energy gainers. So we want to gain as much energy and positivity in our lives as we can. And that could be as simple as music, right? So listening to really negative music, because misery loves company. You want to listen to those songs, what is it, Chloe Adams or whatever, that talk about that are really sad, and have those sad melodies, because it's how you're feeling, and it makes you feel better to realize you're not alone. And there's a time and place for that, for sure. But if you're just gonna call and talk to people that are suffering just like you, and you're gonna go online, you're just gonna read stories about people that are suffering like you, that is not a recipe for success. Okay, that is not a recipe for recovery. Positive stories, thinking outside of your symptoms, talking outside of your symptoms, getting a book. I know it sounds hard for some people. For me it's like impossible, but I was like, all I could think about is my symptoms, and still, you know, I battle with that now. And but I go do things, like I volunteer at a place. Just a small step. It's a few hours of work, and I go and empty trash for the park. I also have started support groups, and I start, through Meetup app, and I started a flag football league, which is really, really great and really helps me, because I socially interact, and I get my my exercise and my competition. I get a lot of that aggression, that adrenaline that's built up, because most people are very, very built up with energy, or sorry, with adrenaline from sedentary lifestyles or whatever may have you. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna run in. I gotta grab my coffee, and then I'm gonna continue with this video. Just give me a second. Personalize this a little bit. Sorry. I'm just gonna say that Starbucks sucks at, like, I do 2/3 or half decaf. and it never and it with coconut milk, and I don't get any sugar or anything added, and it doesn't taste like coffee, and I really like the coffee taste. I don't like anything sweet, but my wife always gets like a regular or a triple shot of caffeine, and hers is always very dark. Like, you could tell that this is very it's not very dark, so there's not a lot of espresso. So now I've been ordering extra espresso. This is decaf espresso. What a waste of money. Anyway, the flavor is absolutely divine when you combine the two. Alright, so back to it. Also, it's your narrative. It's what you're telling yourself about yourself. I'm not going to get better. I'm tired of feeling this way. And, I'm not going to recover. I'm going through withdrawal. Whatever you're saying. You need to say things like, I am going to get better, and today's a new day, and I am recovering, and then accept what you need. Some people, like myself, need medication, and it could be a bridge. I could be on it the rest of my life. Who knows? I don't really care, because there are people out there that don't medicate, that commit suicide. I'm not advocating for medication or not medicating. I'm advocating that you do what's necessary and listen to, a good healthcare professional. And, I'm the poster child for not doing that. So I don't take the meds. I study them, I research them. I don't want to be on them. I'm very resistant. I've also seen the miracle of them. And I've said before that I would be dead without them. And some of you might argue that you could be dead with them, So everybody's different, and you got to find your path. But you have to find enlightening things to say about yourself. It's more than just physical. It's more than just exercise, more than just food. But if you want to feel well physically, and that goes a long way mentally, then you have to eat the right foods. You have to detoxify, and then you have to, the other things that you have to gain your battery life with are the positive books and being outside yourself and taking baby steps. Like I said, I was so burned out, but then I started the football, and then I started the volunteer thing, and I pushed myself to do things when I don't want to do anything at all ever. It's not easy, and I just cried right before I shot this video, a little bit, because I kind of miss my grandma, but I also am just so tired of feeling like shit all the time. And I've got friends that feel like crap all the time, and it's just like, why are we suffering? What's the point? Why do we have to suffer? And I'm just tired of it. But I also have to focus on progress, that I'm making. I'm trying to, lift weights lately and get my body in shape, and because that'll go a long way for self-confidence. If you can get your mind off of what you're going through, it's a big deal. A friend of a friend that committed suicide asked me, they said, hey, you think if he had a job he would have killed himself? It's a good question, right? For a very long time after I had my complete breakdown, and that was when I quit drinking, quit smoking, quit benzos, all basically cold turkey. And but prior to that, the benzos weren't working, and it was a mess. I was having other situations. Long story, but anyway, I had a breakdown, and I had a job. Without a job, I would have been homeless. And somehow, through depersonalization, through lack of emotion, depression, extreme anxiety, rolling panic attacks, derealization, the whole works, on top of burning skin, on top of pelvic pain, bladder pain. You couldn't, like I said, you couldn't write a script you couldn't write a script to develop a better hell in my mind of what I was going through mentally, physically. It's just culminating hellfire within my own mind and body. And somehow I went to work. I mean, gosh. And I knew I couldn't do it forever. And eventually, if I continued that way, it was just no way, it wasn't sustainable. But I'm a fighter, and I pushed through for years, and it was miserable, but I did it, and I'm not saying, a lot of people can't do that, and if you can't, you can't, and my friend, he couldn't do it, and I get it, because after my burnout last year, and I don't work full time now. I do have a job at a company that I'm starting, but I can't work full time, and so it's like a catch-22. It's like you really need to be out there. So my recommendation in that situation is that you have to find some inner strength through God or whatever means to do a volunteer activity, to go to a support group. You have to go outside, because once you start to become internal, your brain is going to just completely fixate itself into survival. So I know we touched on it quite a few things, but the main takeaways are that suffering is been going on since human history, early human history, and suffering was much more, prominent on the surface. But Netflix didn't solve the suffering. Life expectancy didn't solve the suffering. There's so many things that we have now: clean water, electricity, air conditioning, temperature-controlled houses and cars. Traveling anywhere we want to be able to go to, accessible food, high quality food products, but we're still suffering, and there's a lot to be said for that. And because we're not filling the right holes, we're not, even though we have all that stuff, we're still stressed about whatever it is. I mean, because life, you have death of a loved one. It's stressful. You have chronic pain or chronic headaches, and that could very easily probably be a dietary thing, or a stress thing, or a perpetuating loop of both. That's very stressful. Lack of energy is extremely stressful, especially if you, like me, pound yourself. No, I need to do. I want to go. I want to be alive. I want to be normal. No, and then you're fighting yourself. And you know what else is stressful and draining? Is fighting. The quickest way to drown is to flail about and fight if you're dropped in water, as opposed to just learning to float. So learning to float and just basically accept will help to slow down those adrenaline surges and stuff like that, if you can accept. All this is easier said than done, but just got to keep on moving and keep on going, and it's going to get better. You just have to know it's going to get better. I've seen it get better. I have windows all the time. I'm still battling with energy and figuring out what's going to help and what proper diagnosis is. I got my own journey, and it's not your journey. The people on the internet, that's not your journey. So stop following their advice. Listen to your doctors, listen to yourself, read some books from good doctors, and start stopping the drainage. Plug the holes, so to speak, in your sinking ship, and identify who those holes are. I know I just switched metaphors. I'm like Mr. Metaphor. That's what I should change my name to be. But anyway, but it's true, and you got to eradicate those things from your life. Put in good, take away bad. Feed the good wolf, and he will win. So, God bless all of you. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And it's going to be a rainy shit weekend, which I do not like. But it is what it is. And I have to tell myself, and I don't even want to say it, because there's this part of me, it's like the inner roommate of me tells me, Travis, you are a piece of shit. You're never going to get better. It's been 7 years. Yeah, you've had windows, and yeah, you're doing more. Yeah, you've progressed, but no, your life sucks. You still feel miserable. You're still tired. You still have flares. You're not able to do the things you want to do. But then I have to really tap into that other side of me, which is really, really weak. It's barely got a pulse. And then when I can tap into that, he says, no, you've progressed. Look what you're doing. Look what you're building. Look at the people that you're helping. Look at what you've accomplished. Look at, there's so much hope. There's so many other answers. There's so many possibilities. And that helps balance the negative forces that are within you and within me. So you got to find that positive. It's basically this is a house, and inside it you've got roommates. You've got yourself, and you got these voices, and the voices are your roommates. And I'm not talking actual voices. I'm talking about your internal dialogue, your internal narratives. And the negative narrative is largely based off of a sympathetic response to survival that wants to keep you away from the truth. And parasympathetic is the other voice that's trying to calm you down. And where are you, right? Read Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now and try to rise above it and enlighten yourself. Be the watcher. Watch these voices. I mean, just take a minute and just, if you can, just meditate and just listen to what your brain is saying. And a lot of times it's not great. The things that you're saying are very stressful and they're beating you down. So anyway, yeah, this is a house, and you've got yourself, and you got two other roommates, and one is just trying to build you up. One is probably stronger, and he's breaking you down. He's a bully. He's been a bully, and he's been in your life for a very long time. And it's about time you listen to the other roommate, and you guys evict. You gotta evict the other one. You can even give them names, and that sounds crazy. You could be like, you hear those negative chatters and say, oh, Bob, man, gosh, I'm so sick of Bob. I don't know why we ever let him move in. It sounds crazy, but to personify the dialogues can be helpful in identifying triggers and the emotional chaos that's going on inside of us. We think that the world is all outside, but most of the world is internal. It's here. It's here. And that's where real change comes from. Love you guys. God bless. Please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 so I can start doing live streams again. Okay, I'll talk to you later.